Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Paper chasers this way. To your grave. Should Canelo stop boxing? That's a real question. This man has been fighting for a long time. He's hooked up with Turki Alalshikh now. We know he has 2 fights left on his contract. But Turki Alalshikh said he's willing to work with Canelo until he retires. That right there, to me, is a sign for Canelo to just retire. He seems to have all of his faculties. Doesn't seem to have taken that much punishment across his career in his professional fights. But what about the punishment he's taken in training camps? Canelo's not your ordinary fighter. In his training camps, they have wars. Canelo's been going to war from training camps to fights for 20 plus years. So when Turki Alalshikh says, I want to keep working with Canelo until he retires, that may sound good to some of you all. But with me, I hear 2 things. Could this be loyalty, where Turki Alalshikh is like, no matter what, Canelo, I've got your back? Or could it be selfishness? So maybe I should say selflessness versus selfishness. Where it's like, I got him. This guy here is a pit bull. And he will fight anyone. And he just wants the biggest and best matches. Although he's at the end of his career, he wants this money. I need to expand my Riyadh season sport and entertainment brand. And Canelo is the face of boxing, even though he lost to Crawford. And I'm going to keep fighting him and pushing him as long as I possibly can. As long as I keep dangling that carrot in front of him, 100 million here, 100 million there, he's going to foolishly take the money. And he's going to fight and fight and fight until he ends up in the grave. Now, I know for some of y'all not even thinking about that shit. You just see Canelo as a symbol of global appeal when it comes to boxing. All y'all see is Viva Mexico Cabrones. Y'all don't see what the fuck's about to happen to Canelo? Canelo needs to stop and look at everything that he loves. Chase that, not the paper. Because he's got the dough. People keep saying he's not a billionaire. That man's a goddamn billionaire. Between all the money he's made in boxing, investments, business ventures, gas stations, all kind of shit. Canelo don't need to do this. And when you hear him say, his body he just can't push his body anymore. That's God telling you. You've done all you could. Far exceeded anyone's expectations, even your own. But someone has got to get a hold of this guy. Shake him by the shoulders and say, it's okay to bow out and retire. If you want one more fight, a retirement fight, back home in Guadalajara, Jalisco, then head on back to the crib and have your fight. But don't come out here. I mean, visibly, Canelo's physically fading. He's physically fading. I ain't making this shit up. And these guys that he's fighting, he's not about to go into a 4th fight with Triple G. They'll never put him back in the ring with Berlanga. Now, you may say, okay, well, why do you say that? You think Canelo will lose? No, what I'm saying is those are pretty easy damn fights for him where he won't take any damage and he'll win with no problem. But Turki Alalshikh is looking to use Canelo for the most competitive matchup, spectacles, mashup, crash-ups, broke face. He wants people to dead. Canelo Bertabiev. Canelo Mbilli. Canelo Bivol, Canelo Apataya. This is the kind of freak show shit that they're trying to push on this man. I don't care what nobody says. Canelo, it's very obvious to me that he's physically fading. But this is the problem. When you're a guy like Canelo who's put in the work, even if he wants, part of him wants to retire, he don't want to retire on a loss. But this is where his support circle needs to come together as a community and just be like, yo, it's okay. Miguel Cotto, he knew he was done. He retired after a loss. He didn't give a shit. Fulfilled his contract and bounced. He didn't care. He knew it was time. He had a family. He knew he wasn't the same Miguel Cotto. Still a bad boy, but wasn't the same. Canelo's still a bad boy, but he ain't the same. But the problem is his name commands attention. That's a fact. Canelo's one of the few fighters today that could go to any corner of the earth and be recognized. And you know what? It's for him to understand that that's not going to go anywhere. Canelo is a hero. And I'll be honest with you. Although he lost to Crawford, to me this is the perfect opportunity to exit left. You know why? Because of the way he handled the defeat. You don't get any more classy than what Canelo was on that night where he lost to Terence Crawford. He didn't make one excuse. Nothing. He said, I did what I could do. I couldn't push my body any further than I pushed it. Crawford was just a better man. They asked him what does Crawford have? Was it the speed, the footwork, was it the patience, the timing, power? He said everything. Crawford has everything. He's a great fighter. We knew that. Have no excuses. He has everything. The way he showed respect to Crawford, Crawford showed him respect to each other's families. But yet, because he has a name that still commands attention, because he can still sell tickets, and he draws massive viewership, he's going to keep getting pushed to fight in fights that at this point in his career, he shouldn't be doing. Now, that's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? You look at all the great fighters. They, towards the end of their career, they fought in, kind of competitive fights, but it wasn't nothing that can get them hurt. You know what I'm saying? You get to a point, not all, but you get to a point to where, all right, I got this. I fought everybody. I've done everything. I only got a few fights left. Let me cherry pick these last couple so I don't get my damn, brains splattered all over the mat out here trying to prove that I can keep the dream alive and shit. No, man, when it's over, it's over. And I understand for a lot of y'all say, okay, him losing to Crawford, it wasn't a career-ending disaster. He can take out another 2 fights. He has to take on another 2 fights. But this thing about wanting him to fight, and Turkey wanted to stick with him until he retires, Canelo talking about fighting till 40. If you're a Canelo fan, how can you sit back and be okay with this man fighting at 40 years old? Look, I like all these fighters. I don't have a favorite. I don't care who wins. But one thing for sure, I don't want to see nobody coming in, all of a sudden now they can't talk. All of a sudden they end up dead. All of a sudden they lose control of part of their body. All of a sudden they're having seizures and shit. All of a sudden they get 50, 60 years old. They start forgetting things. I don't want to see that. And I think Canelo is very fortunate to have had the career that he's had and to still be, cognitively, 100%. But it's the thing that y'all don't know about, most of you fans who ain't really doing your due diligence to understand Canelo. Those many wars this man has in training camp, those sparring sessions, those shits are many wars. He's been having that shit for 20 plus years. There's a reason why Canelo is dominating at age 15 and all the way up until this point. No matter what you think about Pez or what you think about cherry picking and what you think about the secret society fixing fights and judges and scorecards. Look, we can always have those conversations, but the reality is Canelo put in work to become the fighter that he's become. Canelo can fight. But I just think it doesn't matter how calculated the risk. They can't plan on Canelo getting old in one night and being in there with a beast like forget Bernabe. Let's just say Mbilli. Being there with a guy like Mbilli who doesn't get tired, who's going to throw 100 punches around and be on Canelo. They can't prepare for Canelo to be in there all of a sudden getting the shit beat out of him by a guy named Mbilli. And Mbilli's going to hit him. Canelo always has the opportunity to counter, to do something spectacular. But Canelo, he has heavy feet. He has developed dead leg. And he just doesn't have the conditioning to keep up with a guy like Mbilli. Them first 4 rounds, people talk about Canelo, man, the first 4 rounds, man, he looked great. Crawford could not step to him like Mbilli can. Y'all talking about Canelo would knock Mbilli out. That's just what he wants, someone who comes to him. Shut up, man. Y'all just saying anything you hear somebody else say. You're a bunch of fucking parrots. Mbilli was Bernabe's chief sparring partner. Bernabe wasn't brocking his chin up and fragments in his goddamn face. Y'all expect Canelo with this one-shot delivery system, power punch delivery system to come down and do that to Mbilli? How y'all expect Canelo to go up and beat Bernabe? Matter of fact, I hear people saying Crawford would beat Bernabe. Some of the people in the comments, man, y'all be annoying the shit out of me. Y'all don't even think. No one uses no goddamn brains here. You just want to see a man get in the ring. Canelo. He getting there pursuing another legacy fight and that shit ends in a disaster. It's not normal. The human body is not supposed to be hit on. The human head and face is not supposed to be punched. And you watch Canelo in there, them last couple rounds, Crawford was hurting him. You didn't watch that and think to yourself, this is a bad sign? You somehow watched that and said, yeah, Canelo's tough, he didn't go down, yeah. I watched that and I said, oh shit. Of course Crawford's a bad boy. But I watched that and said, the better days of Canelo behind him. And you know what happens? He put a lot of work in. It's like, I talk about me a lot when I start getting to these examples, right? Because I was very athletic. But the wear and tear, man, I still go out here and run for an hour with my weighted vest. Today I'm going to go run after I do this video, probably for an hour and a half. I'm going to have the weighted vest on. I don't know if I'm going to go live. Sometimes I don't feel like talking and shit. But me running at age 50 with all the wear and tear on my body, being active from a little kid through my teenage years, playing sports, and then joining the military and being active all the way up until now, there's a big difference. I felt that shit in my 40s, early 40s. I still felt like I could do anything, but I was like, damn. Start having a little pain here, this here, headaches here, twitching in my face, my hands would tremble. Had all kind of shit going on. Go get MRIs done and X-rays done, but those MRIs, they're like, oh my God, what did you do? I was like, what do you mean? They're like, you have violent tearing and violent scarring and this. I'm like, I boxed and lift weights and ran marathons, played basketball. They were like, okay. They're like, you got to get surgery. That's why you have all these issues with your body and bone spurs coming off your elbows. The X-rays and MRIs don't lie. When they're showing me this shit and you're seeing this, it's like, oh, that's why I feel this discomfort. You guys realize, if you do your arm like this, you're not supposed to feel pain. You know, like this. Twist your neck and shit. You're not supposed to feel pain. That's not normal. But we live with that and we walk around with that and we're just like, okay, whatever. Then it get to a point where we're like, all right, this really doesn't feel good. You go to the doctor and then they go and they highlight, you got some serious issues. Canelo would never come out and disclose maybe what he's feeling, what his doctors are seeing. But I am 100% sure Canelo, when he wakes up in the morning, he's like, back hurt, ass hurt, feet hurt, knees hurt, elbows hurt, shoulders hurt, chin hurt, head hurt, nose hurt, cheeks hurt, eyes hurt, fingers hurt. My hands are bad. From 25 years typing on computers, boxing and lifting weights. Yeah, man, my hands are bad. Carpal tunnel. I got arthritis and shit. And they're just from beating my hands down, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know. You guys may feel Canelo still has enough to deliver 2 more meaningful fights. Turki Alalshikh, I think he feels that way as well. But if Canelo's going to fight, because Eubank Jr. is going to fight Conor Ben, if he beats him, right? Canelo and Eubank Jr., I'm not too worried about that fight, for Canelo. I'm not too worried. But outside of Eubank Jr., Conor Ben, if he fights Hamzah Sheeraz, I'm very worried for Canelo. If he fights David Benavidez, I'm very worried for Canelo. If Bivol, I'm very worried for Canelo. Bertobiev, I'm sure as hell worried for Canelo. Mbilli, I'm very worried for Canelo. I know that Turkey wants Canelo to continue headlining blockbuster events. But you know what Canelo should be headlining? Headlining his household, being daddy, being the husband, being the brother, being the son, being that Mexican icon, maybe the best Mexican boxer to ever put on a pair of gloves. That's what he needs a headline. The businessman, the guy who retired from boxing and made $1 billion from boxing alone. That's what he should do. He shouldn't be out here headlining these social media posts and articles that he's gonna fight till he's 40. Imagine Canelo fighting 5 more years, 10 more fights. Let's just say 2 fights a year. Who's he gonna fight? All these lions that are coming up just because of the money? I don't care how much heart you have. It ain't cool to be chasing that paper and end up in the goddamn grave. It's just not, I don't want to see it, man. You know what I'm saying? To me, Canelo's clearly exhausted. He's exhausted. You can watch him in the fight. When have you ever seen Canelo look discouraged, look frustrated, reset, look to the left, look to the right? When have you ever seen him do shit like that in a fight? You've never seen Canelo break focus. Stamina declining. And Crawford got fast hands, and Crawford is slick boxing and shit, but I just know, I hope Turki Alalshikh and how he plans on matching Canelo, I know he wants to carefully match him in the next couple of fights. I just hope they don't somehow convince Canelo to go in there with him with a killer. And I'm going to tell you right now, that Hamzah Sheeraz fight is a bad, bad fight for Canelo. He ain't Crawford. He ain't William School. Andy Lee going to make sure that he knocks Canelo out. And Hamzah Sheeraz got the power to knock him out. Remember, Canelo is pretty stationary. He's right there. He's there to be hit. He's looking to throw one shot at a time. Hamzah Sheeraz can establish the distance, manage the distance, establish his leverage, get torque on his shots. Canelo won't be able to reach him. He thought he had a nightmare with Terence Crawford. He for sure will have a nightmare with Hamzah Sheeraz unless Hamzah Sheeraz turns into Sebastian Fundora and decides to fight like Isaac Pitbull Cruz and compartmentalize himself. That's just my opinion, but we'll see what names they're going to float around for Canelo. It's just, Turkey wants drama. You understand? Turkey don't want Canelo to go and dominate. That's what most of y'all fans out there don't understand. Because that's in y'all head. Canelo gonna go dominate. Yeah, he's gonna go dominate. He's gonna give him this guy so he can dominate. Turkey's like, shut up. When Turkey's in the house every day is Thanksgiving and I'm the boss. I'm the chairman of all this shit. I'm not gonna put Canelo in there to dominate nobody. That's what you fans want to see. I'm gonna put him in there to give me drama because that's what I want to see. And if he dies, he dies. If his opponent dies, he dies. Because I want that drama. Not what you want, fans, you tail waggers, you no-gooders. Quit taking it to the stupid. Anyway, I think at the end of the day, it's strategic value for Turki Alalshikh. I think he's not just backing Canelo because he loves him out of sentiment. I think it has a lot to do with protecting his Riyadh season brand. It's kind of like, I don't know, y'all back in the day or even now, there's that chick. People see like, yo, she nice. They can't get to her. And then you like a hood champ, you go out there and you snatch it up, you know what I'm saying? Feel pretty good to grab it, everybody watching. Oh, you got this girl, you got that girl, you know what I'm saying? But then you're like, all right, but you don't treat her right because you just have your own agenda. And she trusts you. Out of all the people she could have worked with, dealt with, talked to, she trusts you and you come and you just like, yo, I have my own agenda for you. And you use her up. Now she there all broken and damaged and shit, you know what I'm saying? Because you wanted drama. And that's how I see with Canelo. Turki Alalshikh like, yo, man, I got him. Yeah, I got Canelo. I ain't gonna treat him good and all that. Give him a little money and shit. You know, that what's that? That money, that ain't nothing to me. We're gazillionaires. But I'm not gonna put him and make it easy for him. I want the drama. And Canelo right there like a sucker. Yeah, Turkey, yes, brother. Turkey, yeah, Turkey. All right. But at the end of the day, Canelo's still the most recognizable face in boxing. If Canelo's active and he's working with Turkey, Turkey's events stay relevant. Imagine if Canelo retires. What is Turkey gonna do? Anthony Joshua flop, Tyson Fury flop. Usyk is big in Ukraine, but I mean, in the UK, but Usyk ain't. He ain't it. There is no one out there who's globally recognized as the face of boxing. Nobody. And this is what y'all need to understand. Turkey needs Canelo, and that's why he's going to pay him ridiculous amounts of money to just stay around long enough till he can get Riyadh season where he wants it. Then he's going to basically do Canelo just like you do when you get that little fine honey that everybody's trying to get, you can't get, and you use it up, and then you be like, yo, boom. Oh, there's another one over here. You leave it there, used up, with a bunch of traumatized and chaos. And you go on and you put your money into the next one, and you put your energy and effort into the next one, and use that one up too. Without Canelo, these events don't stay relevant. Canelo has made these events relevant. So we gotta see what the next couple of fights gonna look like, and if Canelo, stupidly decides to try to push till he's 40. So by growing the Riyadh season brand, Canelo is getting himself a step closer to the grave. And that's just how I feel. But whatever. We're going to see if this works. Turkey stays relevant. And expect him to fight Canelo in the UK. Fight him in probably all 7 continents. Just Riyadh season. It's extending that footprint all over the world. And once he gets things postured the way he wants, Canelo go ahead and retire. But by then, Canelo going to be all fucked up. And I ain't making a joke or nothing. I'm just telling you. You hear what I'm saying. Canelo needs to walk the fuck away. Walk away. Anyway, Canelo's Turki Alalshikh's anchor. He is. He's the goddamn anchor, man. Legacy fighter who bridges the gap between Saudi Arabia, Mexico, United States, the UK, everywhere, all 7 continents, man. Hopefully Canelo knows what he's doing. Because the grave is like, yo, paper chases this way. And I'm telling you from experience, because I don't know about y'all, but I pushed hard for 25 years. Don't get me wrong, I was investing and working hard and training. I did a lot, but before I retired, man, I remember this shit. I don't have these symptoms no more. My fucking face used to twitch, used to spasm. My hands would just be doing like this. My hands were swelling. I would go walking and it's like I was retaining water in my hands. My eye would twitch. I had badass migraines. Yeah, it was all messed up. My blood pressure was crazy. When I retired, all that shit went away. All of it went away. I just had to stay active. I never went back and worked either. When I retired, I never went back and worked. Because I had to do things that I enjoy that are free of stress. Going out here chasing some project management job or whatever job, man, as a senior auditor in Wells Fargo and all these different financial institutions, making between 150, 300 a year, 300,000 a year, go over to the desert, making 300 a year tax-free, and all that bullshit, right? All that sounds good to somebody who may not have. It's like, yo, man, you go out there and do that for a couple of years. But if you don't have to, why do it? But even if you're not in a great position, like how, a lot of us veterans are, you know what I'm saying? But you're just able to make ends meet and do a little vacation here and there with your family and no stress. You don't have no bills, you got your mortgage or whatever, but you live in a very comfortable life. Why go take on this unnecessary stress and fuck yourself up and risk your health, man? Health is wealth. I'll leave it as that. Canelo's health, that's his real wealth. And hopefully he fucking puts that first. Because I don't want to see this guy. I don't like that. Like, that shit really bothers me. That's why I'm doing this video. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? My man, Canelo, what are you doing? Don't go out there and allow nobody to fucking run you into the dirt, man. Expanding the global brand. Is it selflessness from Turki Alalshikh or selfishness? Is Canelo not sharp enough to catch it? Because he just seen that cha-ching-ching Wu-Tang cream. What's in front of him, instead of looking behind him and seeing, holy shit, I'm already a fucking billionaire. Or 800 million or 750 million or whatever it is. How much fucking millions you want? Health is wealth. I'm in the breeze.